time for us now to go back to our colleague Valen Kirtley, who's at the Bontebok National Park. And this is SANParks, of course, is hosting its 14th annual South African National Parks Week, which starts today and runs until September the 15th. It's back to you, Valen, in the Bontebok National Park.
Thank you very much, Sakina. Yes, so the sun has come up. It's lit up the sky a little bit, and it is absolutely beautiful. You can hear the wildlife all around us, and we're here because it is the official launch of the 14th annual SANParks Week. And we're in Bontebok National Park. Where does this park get its name? Well, after its namesake, which is a little antelope. And that's why they decided to actually create this park in the first place, to conserve the Bontebok. But we're going to be talking a little bit more about that with Fundisile Mketeni, who is the CEO of SANParks. He joins us here this morning. A very good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, Valen, and morning to the viewers.
Okay, so let's start off with what SANParks Week is all about and this hashtag Live Your Wild campaign.
It's a campaign, as we indicated, that started 14 years ago. The clear reason for doing this, we want South Africans to know their parks, to visit their parks, to know their heritage, to reconnect with what belongs to them. That's why we're doing this. What is new this year? We have included the weekend, because in the past people said we're busy during the week, we're working, therefore this time around 2019 weekend is included.
What has been the success of the National Parks Week?
The numbers have been growing around 11%. Since the campaign started, we speak of almost 500,000 people who have visited our national parks. But last year we saw a dip because there were rainy days during that time. We only recorded 74,000 people. But this year, look what is happening around us. It's going to be a huge success.
Explain to us, it's not all of the national parks around South Africa. There's some exclusions.
Yes, there are. In Table Mountain, people can still visit free, except Boulders and the Cableway. And also Namakwa is excluded. Those are the only two national parks where there's an exclusion, but the rest is open to people of South Africa.
And there was a little bit of concern regarding the Kruger National Park, SANParks, and the Union, Hospersa. Have those negotiations, has they reached a conclusion with those negotiations?
We have not as yet, but in terms of the bargaining range, we are very, very, very close. Even the CCMA, the Commission, said we're close. We're given time now until Wednesday to speak to the unions. I want to say now, next week and after next week, there will be no strike. I also want to say to the people of South Africa, we have 19 national parks. They are stable. People are working, people are committed. If after the 2 weeks, we can speak to the picketing rules, but there will be an element of balloting to check if our staff are willing to go on strike. But I want to say now, our staff are committed. We are close to settle with the unions. The bargaining range is so close. We made an offer that we feel is responsible and reasonable, because here we look at the resources. You cannot talk about the money you don't have. Therefore, we are all acting responsible with the three unions. We are going to settle and we let people secure their jobs.
You don't anticipate any disruptions during SANParks Week because it is part of a global initiative, a global campaign, and something that many South Africans look forward to.
Take my word, there will be no disruptions this week. People are going to be at work because, as I indicated, we are talking to the unions. Therefore, there will be no strike this week and next week.
Tell us a little bit about the national parks. They like we spoke earlier on, they're amazing because as you go to all of the national parks, they each say something else about South Africa's rich heritage and the diversity within the country, not only from its animals, but also the history of the country and just how far we've come, the people that once roamed this land. But there are communities that are around the parks. What is the community involvement with the national parks?
We are looking at a couple of issues. You are correct to say our national parks are more than what you see until you know them. We have programs in place that we are going to focus on them in the next couple of years. Firstly, the government is speaking of wildlife economy. We are engaging emerging game farmers. Last year, we loaned animals worth than 8 million to emerging game farmers. That's one. We have claimants who are busy developing a beneficiation scheme. The one for Kruger National Park claimants is close to signing. This is where we talk real business, free equity in new concessions, a percentage in the game sales, job preference for claimant community. But in the bigger scheme of things, we're also looking at other communities. For example, on game donation, we have donated wildlife to different communities around the country. Youth empowerment, youth jobs is our focus. Last week, Saturday, we sent off 200 youth working rural development under NARSEC. Those youth, when they come back, we guarantee to deploy them in our national parks. Therefore, we are going to continue looking at youth empowerment, youth for jobs, so that at the end of the day, we have leaders who understand what are these national parks are all about.
So it certainly is not just about conservation and ensuring that South Africa has got a place for tourists to come and enjoy our country, but also there's so much more to it. Thank you very much for chatting to us and also for hosting us here at the Bontebok National Park as we officially launch the 14th annual South African National Parks Week. That was the SANParks CEO Fundisile Mketeni. There is going to be more from the Bontebok National Park, which is about 5 kilometers outside of Swellendam in the Western Cape. It's absolutely beautiful here. We'll see you in the next hour. Just gone 7 o'clock. Let's get your news at this hour.